Aisha Sekou, I-E-S-H-A-S-E-K-O-U. I'm the CEO and founder of Street Corner Resources and the most recent recipient of the Cure of Violence contract from the mayor's office. And I stand here today after a very long night of shooting in this community. We lost one of our beloved citizens, Miss Odessa Sims. We're very saddened by that. Not only was our team out here when right after Miss Odessa Sims lost life, but we were out here before that, earlier in the night, on the corner, across the street, when this park was filled with probably about 800 young people, open containers, alcohol, no provision of oversight, and an event, a cookout, that was long overdue for ending. There was very little police presence. And what we saw when the police showed up was that young people were dispersed back into the community without guidance, and we saw shootings take place. Last night we had over 4 shootings in this community, and the community right above us. Right here we had Miss Odessa Sims. We had 2 young people shot on 144th Street. We had shots fired on 139th Street. And we had shots fired in the Savoy, where we had to, my Speak Peace Forward team, had to run into a corner store for safety. Something is wrong when we have to, in our own community, fear sitting out on a bench, playing cards or checkers or chess on a nice summer night, that we have to worry about young people playing with guns or shooting guns to seek a way of revenge. So we're here as a community together showing our engagement, organizations, different ethnic groups, different religions, Muslim, Christian, different people coming together in this community to say that we want our community to be better, we want it to be safer, and that we do not want guns in the hands of our young people, and that we know that there is pending legislation, meaning bills that are waiting to become law, and people are politically holding those bills back so that they don't become law, so that these guns continue to come in our community because they have other political commitments that seem to be greater than the lives of people. So we stand here together as one to say that we call for peace, we want the guns out of our community, and we want a greater provision of oversight of events in our community so that we don't see violence in the middle of the night like we saw last night. With that, I'll introduce our next speaker, Salam Ismail. I'm going to ask Salam to step forward. And this shows our partnership and our far reach of the issue of violence. Salam comes from New Jersey and is working on a coalition here in New York. And this problem is kind of templated all across the country. With that, I give you Salam.
Peace, family.
Peace, peace.
I'm here because, of course, Odessa Sims, number one, will not die in vain. And this community of folks shows you that that's not going to happen. 2, violence, gun violence is a national concern. Just as I come here today, just yesterday we had 3 shootings in North over the weekend. While they was having a weekend of peace, it came a weekend of violence. So New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, wherever you're at, this is a national problem. This has to become a national concern, and this has to be a front runner of our agenda across the country. So Odessa Sims, this is our sister. We love her. She's our family. When she shot, every one of us dropped. All 8 million people dropped. The city of New York should be hurt and shooken. But not only New York, but around this country. So we're here in conjunction with this sister Aisha and all the other coalition of folks.
Thank you. Our next speaker is a person that most people know. She's lost 2 sons to gun violence, and I almost hate to say that. I always get stuck when I have to say that, but I'm glad that she's my comrade in this work, and that's Jackie Rowe Adams, the director of Harlem Mother Saves. Jackie.
Thank you, Aisha. You stay here, Aisha. Reverend Williams, come here. Let me say this. Harlem Mother Saved. Yes, we are mothers and fathers who've lost kids to gun violence. But most of all, and Harlem mothers and fathers are here. First of all, these two people and others that have been out here on the ground, we've been fighting this for a long time. Enough is enough. Where's all the people when our kids are killing each other and now killing families? We have to take action like we've been taking action and fighting. This lady and this man been fighting a long time. So we need the community to join us now. We need you to join us by not voting for this legislation. These elected officials that's not supporting our legislation. Go to the polls and vote. Do not vote for someone that won't pass a bill on our gun laws that's out there. Like background checks, micro-stamping, all these gun laws, assorted raffles, assorted guns. We must take a stand and stop being scared of our community and speak up and stop killing each other. Who's putting these guns in these kids' hands?
That's right.
We've been fighting for a long time. Who's putting these guns in these kids' hands?
Right.
Let's stop this violence. Now, the many have been out here before with Aisha, with all of us. But what are they doing? They do not come out unless it's something bad. Let's say something good. Let's keep this message in the street. When the police come out and shoot some one of us, it's thousands of us. Now we're killing each other. Come on now, community. Let's stop this violence. Enough is enough.
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 Stop this violence and get the legislation passed. And one of the things we want to make sure is that the gun show loophole is closed. So you cannot go down the iron pipeline and purchase guns and bring them back up I-95 into poor communities, into the hands of young people making the decision to pull a trigger in the dark of the night to resolve conflict where we lose a woman, mother, community member like Odessa Sims. My next speaker is Pastor Williams.
Reverend Vernon Williams. Reverend Vernon Williams. Community. The information is already coming into my ears. I'm being pointed in the right direction. This shooter will be caught within 48 hours. That I'm sure of. That I'm sure of. What I'm sad about is that I look around and the rest of the community is on 135th Street party. It's a shame. This woman did so much for this community. When a pillar dies in this community, the community ought to turn out. Little brother, you're not safe. We're going to find you. You're going to report to justice. Peace.
We definitely want to stay on top of this issue in our community, and we know that it's important for the community to become involved in their precincts, their precinct council meetings, and of course our community board meetings where decisions are made about what happens in our community and how things in policing happens in our community. With that, I give you our community board chair of Community Board 10, Brian Benjamin.
Yes.
Good evening. Good afternoon. When I hear enough is enough, I think what enough is around is the lack of resources that our nonprofits that get to start fighting, to help fight this issue. We have an $82 billion budget of the city. We have a major federal budget, and we don't get enough resources. And the community board is going to fight for two things on this issue. One, we want to work with the family to see if we can do something, a proclamation or something to honor Odessa Sims, and I want to work with you on that. But also, we're going to focus on our community district needs statement to make sure that we put the pressure, along with Aisha and Vernon and others, and Sister Jackie, to make sure that we get the kind of resources we need to help stop these issues from happening in the future. And so I'm happy to be here, but I'm sad to be here at the same time.
Yes.
I'm happy to see so many of us. It's not everybody, but there are those of us who are here to say enough is enough. But I'm sad that we have to do this. But we are going to fight to make sure that this is the last time we come here on this issue.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go.
Community board chair, Brian Benjamin. I'm going to ask that Stephen Holton, one of the ministers who's been doing some work in our community, give some words, and then we're going to start working on our prayer.
It's good to be here. Let us pray together, and if you're close to somebody, put your
We'll do the prayer after.
Gun violence is an infection. it gets passed down from generations, but it gets passed down from above too, from so much of our national leadership as well, from so many around us. So we need to find a way to stay clear of that infection. The way in which we stay clear of that infection is gathering around positive people. If you're one of those positive people, what you do is you get out in the neighborhood so that people can be exposed to you and not just to negativity. Stand up for joy, peace, love. Remember the saints of Harlem, Thurgood Marshall, Malcolm X, Adam Clayton Powell. Look back to those saints, become a saint, reach out to the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you. What's important to us as we gather, not just today, there are a number of people that we call on when we know that there is disharmony in our community, and that's usually our religious community. So I want to call on Imam Lukman, if you would come forward and say a few words. And these are people who give us encouragement in the middle of the night, just like Reverend Steve Holton. It takes a village, it takes all of us and every religion to get in on this and help to resolve this issue of gun violence. Imam Lukman.
Peace be upon you all. Assalamu alaikum. Praise the Lord. I'm here today only an inkling of a representation of our clergy. My call to everyone here today and to the clergy who may be watching this newscast to come out. The churches, the mosques, the synagogues play a very important role in terms of being in the leadership and being advocacy to the things that are being talked about today. Gun violence is very important in our neighborhood. We had a rash of gun violence here in Harlem lately, and there's only a few representatives here. There's only three clergymen here today. So we have a very important part to play in this. It's not just prayer, but it's prayer along with action. Thank you very much.
You know, and the reason why we're at this location is because this is where the first of many shootings that happened last night and shots fired happened right here in the dark of the night, the cool of the night, a very peaceful night at first. And Miss Odessa Sims' life was interrupted here, and she later died from both her injuries and some other physical complications. And I came to this spot after that, and there were a number of friends and people here worried about Miss Sims. And one of them was Mr. Cece, and I would like for you to say a few words.
Odessa, as I call her, one of the sweetest people here. Three of us were playing pinochle, which is a three-man game, and she was observing the game over my shoulder, and we observed 2 shots. Her blood splattered on my back, and she just went to the ground, and it's nothing really can be said because the only reason she was standing was because somebody had asked her to go get something, and she always volunteered to go get something for somebody, or she might have been sitting down. That's the type of person she was. If you needed something, she was there for you. This community has lost a beautiful soul, a really, truly beautiful soul. And I give my heartfelt respect to her husband and her immediate family. But the community as a whole, we have lost a mother, a grandmother, a person of substance. You don't find many of those jewels. And she truly was a jewel in this community. Thank you. Charles Cook. Yeah. CC.
Thank you. We're going to bring this part of the press conference to a close. I have one other person that's representing the National Action Network Anti-Violence Committee, of which I also chair, and his name is James C.B. Gray. Yeah, you can.
James C.B. Gray, and I just want to let everybody know that just as Aisha said, cool, Sweet Corner Resources is at the forefront of the movement, not only just in Harlem, but in all communities. And we come together and collaborate with other organizations as well, the National Action Network, to combat gun violence.
and even push forward in legislation and supporting issues that involve our community and better community and police engagement as well. Speak on the resources, speak these forward. This movement is something that's gathering the youth together on several different levels and allowing us to come together and talk about, open up dialogue amongst us and the police to help combat these issues. I just want to thank Sister Aisha Sekou for really being here all the time. They was on the scene last night after the shooting. That is very, and even before the shooting, they was out here. So, you know, I wasn't even able to be out here, but I heard about it and I was contacted. But the consistency is where it lies, and it's the beginning of us coming together and stopping these situations from happening. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to open up for questions. Again, the organization is Street Corner Resources. Speak Peace Forward, Cure Violence, and like Mr. Coolbreeze, James Gray said, we were out here actually before, and that's what we do. We occupy the community. So this is not new to us. We are out on the streets. We are speaking peace forward. We are talking to young people. We are engaging the community. We are involving the leadership of the religious leadership and the leadership of the community and young people and the police department. We know the officers. But evidently it is not enough. So we are here to say that we are pulling together, we are making things stronger, and we are asking that legislation that is pending become law to keep guns out of our community. We open up for questions. Thank you. Okay.
Specifically, which pieces of legislation?
Okay, the two pieces of legislation, and it can be found at congress.gov. One is the universal background check. The universal background check is important because it means that anyone going to purchase a gun, and that means straw buyers, usually women are straw buyers, people who go and purchase the gun for someone who can't, right? And so the universal background check will mean that they will check into the background of the person who's purchasing the gun, but not only just the person who's purchasing the gun, the other people in the household, to make sure that the gun is not accessible to those with mental illness. The universal background check also allows for a wait period to make sure that there's nothing going on and that it's clear before that person purchases the gun. The other one is micro stamping, which means that anytime bullets are purchased, that those bullets have a impending stamp, kind of a serial number that's attached to your identification, which identifies the purchase of those bullets with the purchaser. So that means that if you have bullets in your possession, you will have to say, how did those bullets get out of your possession? Because you purchased them. They will be directly tied to the purchase. So those are two of the main bills. We're also looking at close the gun show loophole. And close the gun show loophole means that you just can't go down I-95 into South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida and go in a flea market full of guns and buy as many as you want without anybody saying anything. So when you close the gun show loophole, it means that you'll have the mandatory background check. It means that you can't buy over a certain amount of guns at one time because you know that those guns are for sale. And that people have to show real ID when they go into a gun show. Right now, people can go into a gun show without having to show ID. In often cases, all you have to do is have the money, or you show ID and nobody really asks any questions. You flash it, you purchase the gun, and you walk out with guns, and they come up the iron pipeline and end up in 13-year-olds' hands.
The other question I had, when you said that the cookout went on too long,
Way too long.
So my question is, I don't know, should there have been more police?
No,
or did the police
I can tell you exactly what it should be. It should be exactly what it had been being, and we were doing a good job with that. That when the light begins to dim, the natural light begins to dim, the cookout is over. Why? Because in these areas, this is what's called a hardened target area, which means this is an area where most of the shooting has occurred in Manhattan. So if this is a hardened target area, there's some protections that we need to have in place. That means that in this area, things that would go into the dark, and we know that that's when guns come out, that they're over before it's dark. And if that had been over before it's dark, it's easier for people to see. Not that shootings don't happen in daylight, but they're least likely to happen like that.
So were the police not doing their job, or are you going to talk to somebody now?
Well, I think that before we blame whether somebody was doing their job or not, because really, policing a community is everyone's job. Someone should have made the phone call. Someone from the community should have made the phone call. Someone from the community should have made the phone call that the park is overcrowded.
Exactly.
Open bottles of liquor, just young people double parking 3 deep on a street that doesn't require that. It means you park on either side of the street. So if there's 2 lanes of parking here and 2 lanes of parking there, that tells you something, right? And no one made the phone call. So something's wrong with that. That's all of our fault. That's all of our fault. Now, what could have happened better in terms of policing? The police could have, once they knew that this was going on, and I don't see how they didn't know, and they have to take responsibility for that. There was another big event going on. Not an excuse. This should have been assigned to some officers to provide oversight and keep the precinct updated on the activity inside this space, meaning the amount of occupancy, right? Because it was overfilled. That's the first thing, which is a hazard. Had somebody shot off a gun and people were in there, it would have been a stampede, okay? Which means that is unsafe conditions. And if my understanding is right, this is city property, so this is Parks Department. And the provision or the guideline is that after dusk, you're out of here. And they weren't out of here. It was more and more young people coming, more open containers, young people overfilling into the street. And of course, then when they were dispersed, we saw chaos and shooting all through the night until about 5 o'clock in the morning. It should not happen. It should not happen. It should not happen. Any other questions? Okay, we're going to make a circle for prayer. And with that, I say thank you, thank you, thank you. I thank all of the community members, all of the leaders, all of the friends of Miss Odessa Sims, everybody from the community, because we pulled this together from this morning and folks showed up. And I love the kind of concern. I know people are hurting. Thank you, thank you, thank you for showing up. This is what we need.